Bitcoin has officially crossed the chasm. No longer a boy, but maybe not yet a man. That's right, we're here to talk about Bitcoin going through puberty. And the real question is, was the ETF a sell the news event? And more to the point, we're gonna talk about how I'm positioning around the play in altcoins, which is most obviously the next play, and how I'm gonna be investing throughout Q1 over the next few months here to extract the max value from the markets. Now, of course, it's worth noting that at this point, when you're looking at gambling on altcoins, the truth is that there's a probability that stuff goes up, there's a probability that stuff goes down. You could lose literally every penny that you put into an altcoin, and you could also make a bundle of gains. This is the crypto casino that we all know and love, but if you're gonna swim into the deep end of the pool, you need to be aware of the risk you're taking. Just like always, but because there are tens of thousands of new subscribers on this channel in just the last month, we're gonna be slowing things down a bit, making sure that the old EllioTrades content treadmill doesn't run too fast for the new viewers. So if you appreciate that, destroy that like button and let's jump in. First and foremost, let's talk about it. Because if you recall on my last video, I was predicting that things would pump a bit after the ETF. In fact, I was open to the possibility of them pumping a lot. And that's because I just didn't buy that everyone was right about this being a sell the news event. You see, the whole timeline, everyone and their grandma was bearish. And throughout all of 2023, everyone and their grandma was bearish. And yet I remained bullish and made a ton of money. So I remained bullish. But the question is, logically, is this what we're seeing here bullish? You see here, we went from this, 46, 47K range. We popped up to literally 49,000. It doesn't show it on this chart, but we wicked up to 49,000. Just call it 50,000. Literally, please, could everyone out there just say we went to 50,000? Okay, just say it. Say it in the mirror. Say it enough times that it's true. Okay, not 48,494. Definitely not that. But then boom, we get this huge sell-off here. It was just boom, up and right back down. And then we hung around here and just collapsed. And so the question is this the sell the news event? Is this the pain that we were promised? And I say this with 100% enthusiasm and sincerity, but the truth is I don't think that this was exactly the sell the news event, and it wasn't this bullish explosion. No, this was something else. And I feel like it had something to do with the start-stop routine we got, with the fake ETF approval. But again, that's for another day. The question is now, what is about to happen to the markets? And I want to be clear that I do see upside in the short term, and I'll outline the 3 outcomes that I see possible for the market, and I'm going to give you a percentage likelihood that each happens, and I'm going to tell you where I'm putting my personal money and how I'm playing this at the end. So first of all, let's just talk about this Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index plummets to neutral. It plummets to neutral. I always think that this is funny. Plummets to neutral. That's, yeah, wow. It's neutral. Amazing. As you can see here, we're no longer excessively greedy. That's always a good thing, because usually when there's less greed, the chance of the price going up and being contrarian to the upside is better. Now, of course, we know that leading into the ETF, everyone got euphorically bullish, and that was true. A lot of people were very excited about this, but then there was a lot of people that were saying, hey, this is going to be a sell the news. And one of the things we have to talk about here is the balance between the people who are now able to redeem their Bitcoin from GBDC, which was a Bitcoin trap. It was all this Bitcoin locked in Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, and the people who are now newly buying into the Bitcoin ETFs through BlackRock and the like. Now, what you'll see is tons of articles talking about how there was a sell the news and all these billions dumped. But when you actually break down the numbers, what you see is that there's a lot of new money coming in to these ETFs, with over $655 million in inflows, net inflows to be precise. And as you can see, there were some net outflows here for Grayscale, but a company Bitwise actually topped the list here with over $200 million in inflows. So was it a sell the news? I mean, did people literally just dump and move out? No. In fact, there were a ton of net new buyers that came in from traditional finance into the Bitcoin world. And that is not something to turn your nose up at. In fact, I think it's a very strong fact that things are maturing. That said, it's worth noting that Crown, who's actually had some of the absolute best calls, he called the 16K Bitcoin bottom. He literally bottom ticked this whole Bitcoin run, and he's pretty much called a short-term top here in Bitcoin, saying that effectively for the next 2.5 to 5 months, we should expect some form of consolidation. Now, if you look here on the chart that he actually showed, what you'll see here is that the last few times that he's had a similar read, he's shown that we had effectively 84 days of sideways and then we had a dump. This was, of course, in the 22 bear market. And again, in 22, another 84 days exactly, and then a dump. Here you have effectively two chunks of the 84 days, a little more, with 196 days. And then we had a pump because we're in a bull market. Again, the point is that the price normally doesn't explode upwards after this corresponding set of indicators. Now, what we hope happens, of course, is another set of this, where we get some boring and sideways and then we explode upwards. But we do have to accept that this ETF hypium and excitement and anticipation was driving a lot of that price upwards. Now, we do have the halving coming up, and that is typically very good for Bitcoin, as well as when FOMO does start kicking in again, there are trillions of dollars of buyers who can now come in and buy. In my view, the ETF listing was inarguably a success, although we didn't get our bags lifted to Valhalla instantaneously as we had maybe hoped. The truth is that it doesn't mean that hope is dead. And that's because traditional finance is now introducing stimulus for the other most important asset in the entire crypto space, especially the one that pertains to the altcoins. Just listen here to this clip of Larry Fink of BlackRock talking, not just about Bitcoin and the ETF, which was the vanilla way that he was addressing the boomer investing public up to this point. Well, feast your ears on Larry Fink, the crypto degenerate. Listen to this.
These are just stepping stones towards tokenization. And I really do believe this is where we're going to be going. We have the technology to tokenize today. If you want to think about this. If you had a tokenized security and you have a tokenized identity, you, Andrew, the moment you buy or sell an instrument, it is known. It's on a general ledger that is all created together. You want to talk about issues around money laundering and all that. This eliminates all corruption by having a tokenized system.
As intern here says, it sounds like Larry Fink got racked with his absolute boys last week, had an epiphany about crypto, and is now fully entering the crypto rabbit hole. So why am I bringing all this up? Well, it is of course because BlackRock has submitted their Ethereum ETF filing. And where will all of this tokenization be happening? Well, my friends, it will most likely be happening on, in and around Ethereum, whether it's layer 2s, Ethereum rollups, or literally on Ethereum itself. We know that ETH is primed for institutional adoption next after Bitcoin, and this is starting to really lay the foundation for ETH going through the same bullish trajectory that we just saw Bitcoin go through. And the thing about Ethereum is that it is the harbinger of gains for altcoins. It's also the harbinger of life in the NFT ecosystem. So as Ethereum starts to outperform, so too does a lot of the market. And Ethereum going absolutely buck wild with gains could mean incredible things for altcoins. As Ansem said, Larry Fink going to shill Bitcoin and Ethereum nonstop from the rooftops to $10 trillion worth of boomer funds, but you're scared of a little GBTC redemption selling. And that's one of the key things here, is that the redemption out of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is temporary. Once that evens out and people get out of Grayscale into a cheaper product, because Grayscale fees are higher, again, they're in debt, they need to raise some money, so they're going to keep their fees high to get some money out of this product. But once enough people sell and move on to a different product, or just leave it there and forget about it, eventually this Grayscale redemption selling will stop. And this temporary selling pressure will turn into long-term, most likely, buying pressure. And remember when we said that the advertising campaigns had not yet begun? Well, it's because they literally haven't. Check this out. BlackRock has just announced their very own boomer-centric Bitcoin ETF ad. And listen to this.
Digital asset adoption has significantly accelerated over the past decade.
All right, I'm not even gonna play it. It's so boring, but you can just imagine grandpa and grandma and your dad, who's probably a little older like my dad, and everybody else just sitting there, with their hearing aids in going, you know what, this Bitcoin that this nice young gentleman is talking about, it sounds really promising. And those are the moments, those magic moments that BlackRock is blessing us with, and we need to all be grateful exist here in 2024. As the Wolf says, there's a lot of talk about where we are in the cycle. We are here, highlighted in that little circle. Just in case you were wondering, that's where we are. We're right there. We're right there. There's literally no need to ask any questions now, okay? In fact, Questions are illegal. No more questions. Now, what you see behind me is the ETH Bitcoin chart. And what you can see here is that over the last week, we've had the biggest reversion of this destructive chart. We can see that ETH BTC has just been struggling throughout this entire bear market. And it had this nice prop up, which means that ETH is performing well against Bitcoin. ETH is performing better than Bitcoin. But this started literally with the ETF announcement. So while the ETF may have given us a temporary top here in Bitcoin, and we should talk a little bit about how far down Bitcoin might go throughout this period of boring, because boring could mean sideways, boring could mean sideways and down, which would be sad. But I'll give you my 3 outcomes here. Remember, I'm giving you 3 dependent paths at the end of this video. And we're going to talk about the coins that I'm looking at that are going to outperform or continue to outperform. Now, once again, plan B, Bitcoin is on track. As you can see here with the little colored dots, it's still in this blue zone. Once we turn red, things get absolutely spicy, picante. You're going to need some milk, okay? Also, a little warning that now that we have TradFi buying our Bitcoin bags, things might become more correlated to traditional markets. So understand that these things will be having some bearing on how Bitcoin might play out. US dollar index, real yield, tech stock, and gold. I really like TED Talks macro. Check them out. And again, here's this chart. This was the S&P 500, literally almost peaking at all-time highs. Now, is this a double top or is this a cup and handle and is going to break through and create some nice price discovery to the upside? I mean, it looks bullish. It looks like it wants to go up. We see NASDAQ literally already at all-time highs, never been higher than it has been over the last few weeks here in NASDAQ land. As you can see, the prior all-time high was right here. And we can see we're nice and above it right here. And then finally, we have Bitcoin dominance. This Bitcoin dominance shows Bitcoin versus all the other coins. We can see that it was on this uptrend literally throughout the entirety of 2023. It was just charging up here. And a lot of people use this as a reason not to buy altcoins. Now, people who talk about Bitcoin dominance as a reason not to buy altcoins, maybe they're living in a different era of cryptocurrency, but they certainly aren't following what's actually happening. Because if you're in any kind of decent altcoin, I know tons of coins that have gone up 5x. Many coins have gone up 10x. So if you're sitting in old boomer Bitcoin thinking when Bitcoin dominance goes up that there's no reason to buy altcoins, then you're literally just not playing the modern game of cryptocurrency, because that's not how the market works. The good coins pump way harder than Bitcoin when Bitcoin pumps. And pretty much if you know your way around altcoins, you will make not just a little more money, but astronomically more money. Again, if you're good. Most people are not good. Most people suck. If you're new to crypto and you expect to be instantly good, you're probably going to suck, because that expectation will leave you with way too much hubris to actually learn the game. It's worth noting, again, if you're new to crypto, most people make all their money on the 2nd and 3rd cycle, meaning after they've been here for 4 years or even up to 8 years is when you make your real big payday. So when you hear about people making tens of millions of dollars, usually that's not their first rodeo. Usually by the point they're actually set up to do that, they have some real time and skin in the game. They've got the battle scars. They've gone through bear markets. They know when things are overheated and they know when things are undervalued. And hopefully this content can make you better prepared. But remember, there's nothing more powerful than timing and understanding the cycles themselves. So knowing here that Eric Balkunis, who was the one who walked us through the ETF process for Bitcoin, well, he's back and he says he expects a 70% chance of a Ethereum spot ETF being approved in May. Again, I'm not going to pull my teeth out every time there's Ethereum ETF news, but just understand that the anticipation and speculation around this will lead to some positive price action for Ethereum, or at least it really should. And as Ethereum tends to get more bullish, well, it's good for altcoins. Another thing that's amazing for altcoins is when Bitcoin goes on a nice run and then settles down at a lower price point, the money gets a little bored waiting around in Bitcoin and starts flushing into the altcoins. So rounding out this whole market cycle, the point that I'm trying to get across to you is that even though Bitcoin did not create this explosive uptrend after the ETF, I believe that the dump has been fairly muted. I mean, we were at the 42K range in the days leading up to the ETF approval. The real question is what happens now. And I believe that the altcoins have a real opportunity over the next few weeks to maybe 1 month or so to have a real party. Now, I'm going to give you my percent likelihood of this happening at the end and the 3 paths. Remember, I'm going to give that to you. But in this world where Ethereum is catching its newfound love and there is potential for a real alt season here, I'm going to introduce a theory. Now, if you remember, we've been following the work of Arthur Hayes on this channel. He's done amazing macro work over the last few weeks. In fact, Hayes' research has been fundamental to understanding liquidity flow throughout 2023. And he's put out effectively this article called Signpost, where he argues that we will have another black swan effectively in March when the bank term funding program runs dry. And he believes that the money currently being used to fuel our economy will also be near its end. He shows this by showing the decline in the reverse repo facility. Again, you don't need to understand this. Just know that effectively, he believes that there will be a big risk-off moment here in the beginning of March. Until then, he argues that we're in a no trade zone. Now, I personally feel somewhat similar in that I'm not making big new moves here at the end of January. I'm just riding a lot of my positions that are still making good gains. I still think altcoins could have a nice little season here towards the end of January and into February. But because I've been so well positioned in the lead up to this alt season, I'm just essentially not doing too much. But I do believe that there's potential for the market to come down and correct here at some point in Q1. And when that happens, I believe that'll be the big buy before bull run moment, where Bitcoin and crypto will once again get a little freaky and you'll have a chance to buy some discount coins. Now, in short, Crown is arguing that we could work our way down to this 32K support towards the middle of the year. Now, in my opinion, this would be one of the most bearish outcomes, but people would start getting pretty freaked out by this point, and there very well might be some panic selling. This would definitely create some massive confusion in the alts. Me personally, I'm looking at this Bitcoin weekly chart. It doesn't look that bad to me. Again, I'm not an expert chartist, but it really doesn't look like this is all that bad, especially if you ignore this red wick. Again, like I said, this isn't a TA channel, but things aren't looking all that dramatically bad to me. Now for the fun part, I'm going to tell you my trading strategy and how I'm going to be positioning over the next month or so and what I see happening here in January. Again, this is the big money part, so if you're excited for it, go ahead, destroy that like button. This is the part you've been waiting for, where I talk about the coins. I will also say that there's a big announcement coming for Superverse, so if you haven't yet, go right now to Superverse DAO at Superverse DAO and add this notification button. Follow with notifications on. You're going to want this bell button on. Now, before we get into the coins, I'm going to tell you about our new sponsor on the channel. And boy, is this a big one. Today, I'm proud to announce that I am officially partnering up with none other than Coinbase. That's right, guys. I am an official Coinbase YouTube partner. This is the first publicly listed crypto company in the world. It's where a lot of us bought our first crypto coins. Obviously, the Bitcoin ETF is incredible for the industry, but it's super important that we still promote the actual ownership of crypto itself. This is the freedom machine. This is the opportunity to truly participate in the brave new world of crypto. And now that Wall Street is supporting this industry, we must continue to educate at a new level the importance of truly owning cryptocurrency. Plus, of course, we know all the best investments and all the best opportunities are available on DEXs and true crypto exchanges way before they're available on the stock market. And when you sign up for Coinbase, you will get up to $200 in crypto. And this is by completing a very basic set of actions once you register. Now, the biggest question you need to ask yourself with any cryptocurrency exchange is, can I trust it? And we know that over the last 10 plus years, Coinbase has never been hacked and they have never lost customer funds. This is effectively the most important thing you can do as an exchange, is just not lose people's money, not get hacked, not screw up. And Coinbase has done that in spades. In fact, it looked like other people, Binance, FTX, were outpacing them, always doing new and different exotic things to win the race. But it turns out Coinbase, with their slow and steady approach, has actually created the behemoth, the Amazon of crypto. And this is the easiest place for you to get your coins. So if you're not already signed up for Coinbase, I highly encourage you guys, go sign up, use the link. It supports the channel, and it is easily the most trusted and secure way to get your hands on real cryptocurrencies. Do your research, wait for big dips in the market, and then buy coins with amazing tech, amazing communities. And if you don't already have an exchange that you like, check out Coinbase. It's inarguably the top tier exchange in America. All right, now for the fun stuff. Now that we know that we're looking at an Ethereum season, the question is, what might happen? Now, ETH itself should keep pumping here along with this narrative. Again, it all depends on whether Bitcoin decides to take a massive dumpola or just be boring and sideways. If Bitcoin just goes sideways, then I believe Ethereum and a bunch of altcoins are going to have an amazing next month or so, that they will go absolutely rocket mode, and there could be some serious gains, 2x, 5x, 10x out of select altcoins. Now, if Ethereum comes down and tickles this $2,400 range again, right now it's sitting at, 25. If it tickles that 2,400 range, that's a screaming buy. But if not, Ethereum should do well over the coming months due to the ETF anticipation. When we look at alt seasons of the past, it's really important that you understand and you look here that when Bitcoin topped, it was the beginning of November in 2021. Whereas you look at a coin like Sandbox, right? Sandbox was one of the biggest gainers late in the cycle because of Metaverse Mania. And you could see that it didn't top until the end of November, a full month later. If you would have sold here at the top of Bitcoin, you would have sold Sandbox at $2. Whereas then between that time and the actual top of the market, Sandbox went another 4x up to $8. And if you see the market cap change on Sandbox, it went from $2 billion market cap up to literally almost a $7 billion or a $6.5 billion market cap. The point here is that altcoins can go absolutely parabolic even after Bitcoin and Ethereum start to settle down. More to the point, that's exactly when they go parabolic. So once you get this move out of Bitcoin, it settles down, Ethereum makes its move. Now we have this wealth effect spreading throughout crypto. Now the downside of this is that after these moves play out, if Bitcoin doesn't have any more steam left in it, that's when we might see a major correction in the markets. So understand, while I am excited about the potential for altcoins running here, there's a reality that at some point in Q1, we will probably see a major correction in the altcoins. And if you're not positioned at all right now, in my opinion, that is your time to buy. But more on that again at the end. Again, here's another great example, Gala Games. You see here that in the middle of November, remember this is literally a week or two after Bitcoin had already topped, Gala is sitting here at under 10 cents and it shoots up here to almost 72 cents here. The market cap change. Gala went from 700 million up to literally almost $5.5 billion in market cap. And that happened within the space of just a few days, but it didn't fully top here until the end of the month, almost a month after Bitcoin topped. And you can see here Celestia, which we brought to you guys at about $4, is just about to hit $20. And I told you guys that if Bitcoin ETF went well and it got accepted, that these strong coins in the market would continue to be strong. Remember, these are like prize fighters. When they're 55-0, you don't expect them to get knocked out. And coins like Celestia, Injective, Say, and the like, all coins that we've been talking to you about since much lower price points here on this channel, well, they've been performing super hard. Check this out. Crypto Dog showing Injective forming a nice little move up against its top level resistance, looking quite bullish. As you can see here, Injective just doing very well, doing Injective things here, very close to its all-time high and just forming this nice little tight range. And you can see it just wants to win. Injective just wants to win right now. So if this market continues as I expect, yeah, Injective should keep floating up here. Now coming up on about a 5x since we brought it to you on this cycle. Of course, we covered Injective again at 70 cents last cycle. It's almost impossible to imagine how much gains have come since we first covered Injective back in 2020. Say, not much else to say here, up 17% on the day. We can see here again, it's damn near all-time highs. It's really, oh yeah, did it break out to all-time highs? It's just looking absolutely beastly. 86 cents, its all-time high was 87 cents. It's really close to its all-time high. If it's not on it, again, the strong coins will remain strong. And this party can really continue into the next month or so if we don't get a major dump on Bitcoin. Sui, the new high performance blockchain that everyone is talking about. As you can see here, it's made a nice cut from its original dump back in, I guess, May of 2023. The time to buy it would have been October, but regardless, we can see here, it is showing a tremendous amount of strength as we're talking about the layer one trade. And this one is quite interesting. It just got brought to my attention. Neutron is a settlement layer on Celestia. So we should see as Celestia goes on nice little price movements upwards, we should see Neutron also do some nice things. As you can see here, it's done really well. It's pretty much an up only chart as well. Again, here at 393 million, whereas Celestia is at 3 billion. So you can see it's about 1/10 the size. Again, as Celestia pumps, you'd expect Neutron to do some good things because it's built to interact with Celestia. And finally, if you don't have Rabby Wallet, go and install it and go make a bunch of transactions, connect a bunch of wallets. I use Rabby. I love Rabby. It's probably the best wallet out there. And they are clearly about to drop a token here. So I don't know what the snapshot criteria is. I don't know if they already did it. But usually these wallet ones ones are pretty easy. You connect your wallet, you sign up a few accounts, and you can end up with some coins. I don't know if you can still do it, but you might as well check out Rabby Wallet here, rabby.io, and just get their browser extension. Can't hurt to try to get some free airdrop coins. Okay, so now is the moment of truth. Let's talk about the 3 dependent paths here for crypto. First path is that this is where we are, and Ansem, who's very bullish, just thinks we're going up, up, and away. Now, we might just be going up, up, and away. To quote him, we are where the blue arrow is, not the red arrow. A lot of people think we're at the red arrow here because we're repeating 2019. And Ansem says, no, we're at the blue arrow. So if we're at this blue arrow here, that means that we are just going to skyrocket to the moon. No sell the news. That was a fake out. It's just up only. Literally, just sell everything. Mortgage your house, mortgage your wife, mortgage your kids. All right. Get loans against your children and buy Bitcoin. And just don't even care about the price, because this is going so high. You don't need to worry about price. Price is just a thing. All right. Price is just a number, as they say. If we're at the blue arrow, nothing matters. Literally nothing matters. But what if we are not at the blue arrow? What if we are more at this red arrow? Possibility 2 is that we're at the red arrow, and we'll see some real negative price action here before the halving, and we get the full cycle kicking in. Now, if that's the case, the biggest opportunity would be to buy during that monstrous dip. I'm a bull, I'm a giga bull, and I believe that dip would be a massive gift. This is sort of where Eric Crown is arguing we're going to head to the low 30s here. Anything in those mid 30s or low 30s would probably be astronomically good prices, and just whatever the prices are when Bitcoin dips. Usually if Bitcoin falls 10%, altcoins will fall 20 or 30%. So just know altcoins could go on absolutely massive parabolic nukes if Bitcoin does this, and that would be the chance to load up on the strong altcoins. Remember, if an altcoin was super strong early in the cycle and then Bitcoin nukes and the altcoin nukes, well, when Bitcoin comes back, probably that altcoin is going to come back, because whatever was working for it and going right for it will probably continue to go right. So situation 1 is we explode to Valhalla, no stops, Bitcoin up only, and probably the entire market would send so hard, altcoins going 10, 100x like crazy. That's great. You don't even need me in that case. You could just throw money at the market blindfolded like a baboon and probably make so much money that you just go ahead, you send your shitcoin portfolio to Mensa, and they would crown you a genius, 3,000 IQ. That's what's going to happen if we're at the blue arrow. That's situation 1. Situation 2 is we get this massive slow grinding nuke down, and something happens in Q1 where we actually get a massive downward move in Bitcoin. The excitement just leaves the room and we get these lower prices, but still above 32K. That would be a massive buying opportunity. And now the third option, which I think is honestly my base case, is that we chop around without much excitement to either direction, with Bitcoin going kind of sideways for a while. And that could mean some dips down below 40, some pops above 43, but I don't see it really breaking out of this range for the next little bit. In fact, my base case is that we chop around and go sideways for quite a while Ethereum does its thing, makes some pushes up, and I think altcoins could look really, really nice over that period of time. But does that mean that I'm going to ape in and buy a bunch of altcoins? Well, guys, I've been aping and buying altcoins like a psychopath for the last 3 to 6 months. So no, I'm not going to be adding a ton of positions. I'm just going to be kind of letting things ride. If anything gets crazy to the point where I'm sitting on an astronomical amount of gains, I might take a little profits and think, hey, look, this is overcooked. I'll let you know if I do that. But for right now, I'm just hands off the controller, letting my positions ride in the market. And I might get stung by it if Bitcoin takes a big dumbola. But honestly, if it gets really bad, I'll probably just wire in some more money and buy some coins, because honestly, I believe 2024 is still setting up to be an astronomically good year for crypto, even if we get a quarter or so of less interesting price action for Bitcoin. So to be clear and recap again, situation 1 is that Bitcoin rockets. Again, nobody has to worry about a thing unless, of course, you don't have any coins. Situation 2 is that Bitcoin slowly grinds down and has a kind of risk-off moment and goes back and explores that lower side of the range around the low 30s. That would, to me, be a massive screaming buy. And situation 3 is that Bitcoin goes sideways, and with all this new liquidity in the market and Bitcoin no longer stealing the show, I think we might see some real action for altcoins. Where am I looking? I'm looking in the obvious places where the strength has already been. And then once those coins get a little overcooked, it would make sense that there would be some catch-up trades, coins that haven't quite gone on this run, catching up and making some gains. But again, we'll be doing a lot more content throughout this time, so I don't need to build Rome in a day here. This is my overall outlook for the market. Again, if you enjoyed these videos and you got some value out of it, this is how I think people will make the most money in Q1, which is of course hanging on to your positions in altcoins and not getting scared. I don't think the Bitcoin sell the news event is truly accurate, because I do think that Bitcoin is holding on to most of its speculative gains from this ETF run-up, and altcoins are set to have a pretty good month, or maybe a little more. But just to be clear, if altcoins go on a big move, there's no new catalyst for Bitcoin, and things get real frothy here towards the end of January and the beginning of February, it very well might be time to take a little profits, or at least prepare yourself emotionally for a reset of the market. That's what I could see happening, with maybe a low coming in somewhere in March. Again, that is literally just throwing darts at the dartboard, and maybe just maybe it rhymes with the Rona dump of 2020. But again, I've seen stranger things in crypto land. As always, if you enjoyed this, smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe with the bell notification on, as we're going to be doing some deep dives into coins. If I'm right and we start seeing some heat here in altcoins, well, the tickers are going to start flying, and you're going to want to be the first one to hear about these videos. As always, if you enjoyed this, make sure to check out this video. It is an absolute Bible on how I'm investing in 2024 and the coins to watch. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.